Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. So today's video is going to be the type of video that for me as a viewer, I always get really excited about seeing. And that's because they're not done too often. And that's the infamous disappointing products video. So I apologize in advance, I'm probably going to ramble a bit here in the beginning, but since this is the first time I've done this type of video, there are some thoughts and opinions I want to share with you. So oftentimes I'll hear from other YouTubers, other bloggers, conventional green beauty, doesn't matter, that they don't like discussing disappointing products because they see it as negative. So me personally, I don't agree with that. As long as it's done constructively, informatively, and respectfully, I think they can be very, very helpful. I really don't think it's expected that we're gonna come on here and be like, this product sucks, don't buy it, and no one is gonna benefit from it. It might be really obvious what I'm trying to say here, but in case it's not, I wanna get my point across. So just as a random scenario, an example, let's say someone's doing a disappointing review on a lipstick. So the viewer sees the lipstick and is thinking, huh, I haven't heard of that brand. The packaging is really pretty too. So then let's say the reviewer says, the first reason I was disappointed with this lipstick is several of my friends told me it was a matte lipstick, and it's actually not a true matte. It's kind of has a satin finish. The viewer thinks, okay, I don't care about that. I actually really don't like matte lipsticks anyway. Next, the reviewer says, I was really hoping that there would be a lot of pigmentation and it was going to be really opaque, but it wasn't. I mean, it still built up the color, but it definitely started out sheer and you had to apply a few layers. Then the viewer thinks, well, I actually prefer that. Then you can kind of get a few different colors out of the lipstick. Then the reviewer says, finally, the major deal breaker for me with this lipstick, why I would never repurchase it, is because it has a minty flavor that I wasn't aware it had. And I hate mint. So then say the viewer thinks, oh well, I have no issue with mint. I like mint. I don't see any reason why I wouldn't like this lipstick. Obviously that's like a perfect situation and I don't know that that happens too often, but that's what I mean when we be constructive and informative about it. I feel like more people can benefit from it and just learn about the product, not just necessarily that it's bad. And not only do I think it can benefit others, I think it can benefit me as well, because maybe there's a method or a trick that I didn't think of in applying the product or something like that. Maybe it sounds like my product is a bad batch, went bad, something like that. And if someone leaves me a comment letting me know that, I could learn something and actually maybe even put the product to use or get one that actually works correctly. So that's exactly what I intend to do in this video. I want to be as helpful as I possibly can, even though these products didn't work for me. And another thing I wanted to do is not only am I just going to talk about a product I didn't like, I'm going to give you an alternative of the same type of product that did work for me if I have it. Not all of these do I have alternatives for or something that I preferred more. So in that case, if I don't, please let me know in the comments below if you have a recommendation. And then today's theme, if you will, for the type of products I'm going to be talking about, I laid them all out when I picked these and I noticed, wow, I'm probably going to get a lot of hate because it seems most people really love these. All these products have been very hyped up in social media, other YouTubers, other bloggers, but they just didn't work for me. So I swear I'm not trying to be contradictory or cause a rise out of people, but that's just what happened for me, and I am just gonna be 100% honest with you guys. So before I get into the actual products, I figure I should probably give you guys a background on my skin type so you kind of know, have an idea of how these products react for me. I definitely don't have sensitive skin, and pretty much my entire life I've had pretty oily skin, except as of recently, which I think is a combination of products I've used and the fact that it's the middle of winter, and now I would say my skin is pretty normal. Sometimes combo, sometimes I'll get a little oily and a little dry in areas, but for the most part it's been pretty normal, I think. Also, the climate I live in is quite dry, and I'm sure it's not as dry as, you know, a true desert, but it is pretty dry here. So then I also do experience some acne, especially in this region, hormonal sort of acne, and I do have some congested skin, blackheads, that sort of thing, and enlarged pores. So hopefully that gives you an idea and a background of how my skin is. So anyways, let's just get right into the products. So the first product I'm going to talk about is one that I always see on YouTube. I feel like every other YouTuber but me is in love with this product. I see it in favorites videos and I have never heard a bad review about it. And that is the Acure Brightening Facial Scrub. So I really don't dislike this product, but I definitely do not love it either. It's just kind of meh to me. Main reason being is I just didn't feel like it did anything for my skin. It's not that it wasn't, you know, exfoliating enough on my face. I would say it's a pretty decent level of, you know, abrasiveness, but I just didn't notice a difference. I didn't feel like it brightened my skin. I didn't feel like it moisturized or dried it out. Just zero effect basically is how I felt when I used this. So another reason I personally didn't care for this one is the type of scrub it is. I prefer the type that will kind of either melt like salt or sugar, or they'll at least soften up like a grain exfoliant would. And this one, it just retains its same texture. And what I found was if I did the scrub in the shower and tried my best to wash it out, felt like everything was gone, and then I'd get out, look in the mirror and see that it's still in my hairline, still in my ears, still in my nose, stuff like that. And I have 3 little kids and I personally just don't have time for that sort of thing. I'm sure it's not that bad and just take your time a little more, but I just personally don't have the patience for that. I'm not exactly sure why it didn't work for me, and it seems to work great for so many other people. It says it's for all skin types, and you know, honestly, I think anyone could benefit trying this. There are a lot of people who do enjoy it. On top of that, it's pretty affordable. It's only $9.99 typically, and you can get it from health food stores, so it's not like it's difficult to return. So I think it's still something worth trying considering the fact so many people like it. It just wasn't the case for me. So not quite yet am I going to show you my alternative for an exfoliant that I do really like, because I have one more to tell you about, and that is the Lindstrom Clean Dirt. So this one I heard so many great things about, but it completely did not work for my skin. So this one's a powder product that you would pour into the palm of your hand and then activate it with a few drops of water and then, you know, scrub it into your face. So the texture of this I found to be very intense and abrasive, not far off from a feeling of rubbing sandpaper on my face. That's how bad it was for me. And like I mentioned before, I wouldn't consider myself to be someone who has sensitive skin. It's extremely rare that I would have a reaction or would notice like a stinging sensation, but oh my god, did this sting my face. After going through the ingredients, I noticed it has clove, and clove can be really great for the skin, especially for congested, acne-prone skin types, which is me. However, it can be a skin irritant, and that was definitely the case for me. And on top of that, it also has salt and baking soda, so you can imagine your skin already being irritated, and adding those type of things to the mix just does not sound good. So I think for sure if you have sensitive skin, stay really far away from this. If I'm wrong, if you do have sensitive skin and you like this, please let me know. Maybe it's just purely the fact that I had a reaction to the clove, I don't know. So if you don't have sensitive skin, maybe it's worth trying. But even if I didn't get the stinging sensation, I felt like it was very, very intense and abrasive. And I read on the website that this is a daily exfoliant, and that kind of worried me. I think that is way too harsh for a daily exfoliant in my opinion. But if you do like this product, I'm really curious how it works for you, because I personally can't imagine it being a good thing. I would just say for sure, pick up a sample. Do not buy full size. It's really large and it would last you forever, and it's $60 too. I mean, I would recommend sampling with any green beauty product first, but this one I would for sure recommend sampling first. Okay, so let's talk about the exfoliant that does work really well for me. And this product was actually so kindly gifted from my friend Laura here on YouTube, Naturally Laura Catherine. And I am so grateful she did, because I want to say this is my most favorite exfoliant I've tried so far. And that is the Fig and Yarrow Facial Scrub. So this one is actually just the travel size. The full size is double this one, I believe. And it does last a pretty long time too. I have had this for a while now and used it several times, and it's just so tightly packed and you don't need a whole lot of it. So for the performance, I love the texture. The exfoliating properties in this are ground oats and ground walnut shells. So this is kind of the type that I was mentioning earlier that softens up a bit as you massage it into your skin, and I just think it's the perfect amount of abrasiveness for me. I don't think it's too soft despite, you know, the fact that it softens up. It's still really invigorating. And then the other thing I absolutely love about this is the fact that it has castor oil and honey. When you're finished, it leaves my skin feeling so soft and smooth and brightened. So the next product I'm going to talk about I think is definitely going to be a controversial one because it gets a lot of love in the green beauty community, and that is the Kypris Antioxidant Dew. I have this little sample, and I have also tried the clearing serum and the Moonlight Catalyst. Very underwhelmed with those as well. But this one of the three I was the most disappointed with because I had the highest expectations from it basically. So Kypris, the brand as a whole, seemed so amazing to me. The packaging is stunning. Everyone seems to like it. I just thought I couldn't go wrong. On top of all that, the Antioxidant Dew specifically is supposed to make an amazing base for your makeup. And so many people I heard say if you're gonna get anything from Kypris, get the Antioxidant Dew. Well, I'm really glad I got the sample because I was extremely underwhelmed with it. So the texture of this is pretty unique. The product itself is kind of an odd one to me. There's not really anything that I know of that's quite like it. So it's like a thick milk sort of consistency, and it absorbs into your skin very quickly. Maybe has a tinge of oil to it, but it's mostly quite watery. So when I tried applying this, because it absorbs so quickly, my skin just sucked it right in. It was just not really any different from my bare face. And because of that, that's why I felt like it did absolutely nothing for my makeup. It made no difference if I wore a bare face or this. And another thing they do recommend using this for is sort of a carrier of your other serums and oils. You can mix it in the palm of your hand with, well, I mean, I think it's recommended to use other Kypris products, but I'm sure you can do other things, and I tried that as well. And you know, it's nice. It's not like that was bad. It definitely did its job. For me, I would personally rather just use a toner that's much less expensive. And the toner for me is also just a better experience because I enjoy the aromatherapy aspects of it because of their scents. This has 0 scent, so maybe if you're looking for something with no scent, you might, well, you know what? Let me smell it one more time. Okay, I lied. It's not completely unscented, but I would say it's just like a very light sort of oil scent. So from my perspective, I'm not entirely sure why this is such a popular product. Maybe just for some reason with other skin types, it does work really well under makeup. And I'm not sure why mine doesn't. Maybe if you like the experience of this, mixing this with your oils versus like a toner, maybe it's for you. So one thing obviously I don't know about the product is how it's gonna affect my skin long term. Who knows, maybe it would have some amazing benefits if I did decide to purchase the full size, but purchasing the full size is not something I'm willing to risk considering there's just nothing else about the product that I enjoy. I would just be putting my faith in hoping that it would do something for my skin. And then the exact same thing goes for the Moonlight Catalyst and the Clearing Serum. They're both around that same price point. Another thing I'm not super crazy about with the ingredients in these, so just the beauty elixirs and the body oil, I believe, are not like this, but these three, the first 2 ingredients are water and glycerin. I'm sure that plays an important role of the texture, but at that price point, I'm not sure why you wouldn't use like hydrosol or aloe at least. I just personally would not want to put that much money in something that's basically watered down. So I don't really have a specific product that I would recommend in place of it because it is pretty unique. But like I said before, you could use a toner instead. As far as prepping your makeup, I think serums or facial oils work 1,000 times better. For me lately, I've been really enjoying the Dr. Alkaitis Nourishing Oil or the One Love Organics Morning Glory, but it really doesn't matter. I don't think anyway. So that's the last I have for skincare items. From here on out, it's all gonna be makeup. And the first item I have to talk about was actually also gifted from my friend Laura, And I truly am grateful that she got it, even though it ended up being disappointing, because I definitely would have purchased it myself. And that is the Antonym liner, but specifically in brown. So I also have the black one, and the black one truly does live up to the hype. It is amazing in the waterline. It really does last. It's amazing for smudging out and it doesn't get all over the place. Don't get me wrong, this one is decent. It's a decent liner, but it does not last as long as the black by any means, at least on me. And I don't really know that that's something that's going to change from person to person. If it does work for you just as well as the black, I'd be really curious to know. I just wish I had known that the brown does not perform at the same level as the black. And I'm still on the lookout for something that does, and I think what I want to try next is the Honest Beauty one, because I've heard really great things about that one too. So if anyone out there has tried the black one and you understand the performance of that one, and you found a brown one that works just as well, please let me know in the comments below, because I always prefer a brown over a black because it's just more for every day and I would use it much more. So the next product was definitely a disappointment for me because I wanted it to work so badly, and it is the Well People Expressionist mascara. This one is the travel size, by the way. So I love this mascara. The wand is perfect for me. It just grips my lashes exactly how I want. It separates, it volumizes, it lengthens. The formula is dry, but not too dry where it's clumpy, but dry enough to where it's not going to transfer all over your lid when you're applying. I just absolutely love everything about the application, the effect it gives my lashes. Unfortunately, no matter what I tried, it just smudged and flaked so badly on me. And I tried so many different things. I tried layering it with different mascaras. I tried setting my under eyes, setting my lashes, using only powder products around my eyes, and no matter what I did, it just looked like raccoon eyes a few hours in. So that being said, if you don't typically have an issue with mascaras smudging on you, this one could end up being amazing for you. And even if you do typically experience smudging with mascaras, it still could end up working for you, because I've heard on several occasions people who have, you know, it worked just fine when they layered it or used powder under their eye, set it, and they experienced no issue. It's just, unfortunately for me, it didn't, and that was such a bummer. But thankfully I did find a mascara that I do really enjoy. If you've seen my previous videos, you know my favorite one right now is the Lotus Pure Organics. It's a very different brush, but I feel like it's a pretty similar formula, and I do really love the effect it gives my lashes too, and thankfully it doesn't smudge on me at all. So this next product was one of my very first Green Beauty purchases from last summer. It is the very first natural concealer I tried, and I thought it was going to be amazing. I had never heard a bad thing about it. Everyone seemed to rave about it and just absolutely love it, so I thought for sure I couldn't go wrong. And that's the Christopher Drummond concealer, which, if you didn't already know, is now the HYNT Beauty Duet Perfecting Concealer, which, by the way, is the exact same formula as this one. So the probably only thing I like about this concealer is it is really full coverage. And when I swatch it on my hand, I feel like it just looks so amazing. No matter what I did, it creased on me horribly. And I mean, if I didn't set it, like get in there and set it immediately, it would crease within minutes. I feel like the formula is really thick and kind of difficult to work with, but I still tried so many different things to try to get it to work. I tried mixing it with primer, I tried layering it and mixing it with other concealers, setting it, of course. I tried many different brushes, my fingers, beauty sponge, and just nothing seemed to do the trick at all. I mean, some things helped a little bit, but no matter what, I think the longest it ever lasted without creasing was like an hour. And I'm not sure why that is the case for me, because I've heard of several different skin types having great success with this. I thought at first that maybe you would have to have just really dry skin, maybe just any slightly oiliness in your eye area would cause it to crease, but even people with normal oily skin, I've heard of this working on, and yeah, I just don't know. I suppose I would still recommend trying it since so many people have good success, but for sure I would recommend getting a sample if you even can. So I haven't found like a holy grail concealer that's natural. My previous holy grail was the Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer. Super obsessed with that concealer, but very sad it's not super clean. So the one that's worked best for me so far, and I've tried several now, is the Elate Cream Revealer. And this is a very different texture than the HYNT Beauty. This is going to be more of a solid cream and it kind of melts to the touch. It does have good coverage and it will crease on me minimally after some length of wear, but definitely not horribly. And it's for sure the best I've tried so far. I will say I am very interested in trying the new Well People concealer, as well as a couple others, but as of right now, this is the one that works pretty well for me. So the last thing I have to mention actually ended up being the entire brand as a whole after some information I stumbled upon. I'll get into that in a minute, and I'm just going to first mention what I was originally only going to mention, and that is the lip products from 100% Pure. So they have several different lip products, but the ones that I tried were the Vitamin, the lipstick, and the lip glaze. So to start out with the Vitamin, that was probably the one I liked the least. Those are more of kind of like tinted balms. First, the color I wasn't crazy about. Butterscotch, it just wasn't much of anything for my lips. Even worse was the texture for me. It was a very light, slick texture that really didn't moisturize my lips. It just kind of felt like it was sitting on top. As it wore off, it kind of left my lips feeling more dry. I'm just the type of person who prefers a really kind of thick, hefty balm that's gonna deeply penetrate my lips and like just super moisturize them. So I don't know if I just have super dry lips and I need that and others don't, but I just did not enjoy that one whatsoever. And then the lipstick was really disappointing to me because I really love the color. I got Calendula, which is a really pretty pinky peach nude, but kind of the same thing. The texture was really creamy and nice, easy to apply, but it just was a little bit too slick on my lips. It sat on top of my lips. It wasn't deeply moisturizing. On top of that, any little dry patch I had on my lips, there would be some discoloration. It would be kind of a pasty look to it. So it just looked really patchy and not good at all. The last thing I want to mention, I can't really speak from personal experience, but I've heard the entire color range really does not last long. This one certainly didn't, but it is a lighter color, and that of course can tend to not be as long lasting than, you know, a deeper, darker color. But I've heard even their dark shades just do not last long at all. So I mean, unless you don't mind reapplying over and over again, that's not an issue, but for me, I like a good long-lasting lipstick. Fortunately, I did find a really close dupe in color from Mineral Fusion, which is a much more affordable brand, and they have really clean ingredients too. It looks pretty close, but Mineral Fusion, I will say, isn't quite as opaque. It takes a little bit more to build up, which I personally don't mind at all. So I am really glad I found that, and it's just so much more moisturizing, and it doesn't leave my lips looking patchy whatsoever. So the lip glaze was my favorite of the three. It was a lot more moisturizing and it didn't look weird on my lips, and it lasted pretty long too. I wouldn't say it's my favorite lipstick out there, but it's pretty good. However, the biggest bummer for me ended up being that 2 to 3 months in, it developed this really disgusting old lipstick kind of crayon flavor that was just really intense, and I could not take that. And that was really disappointing. And that's what kind of brought me into this whole thing I'm going to talk about here in a minute. I noticed that it only had a shelf life of 6 months, and I thought that was really strange, even for a natural lipstick. So for lipsticks, I would recommend, like I already mentioned, Mineral Fusion I really enjoy. Elate is also really good. Nudist, amazing. I know the price is high, but it truly is an amazing lipstick. It's also so long lasting, but very close to Nudist. I mean, I can't say for sure because I need to try more colors. Breesia is so good too, and they're only $8, and that's just amazing for such an affordable lipstick. So I would highly recommend that one too. Okay, so let's get into this shelf life issue. And like I already mentioned, I noticed this when I found out this was expired after 6 months of opening. So I started to look into more of my 100% pure products, and I at first assumed it was just the cream products. Everything is 6 months after opening in cream product. And I was just really bummed by that, because who is gonna use that up in that amount of time? Unless like maybe you're an extreme minimalist and you use that lipstick every single day and you don't switch up your colors. Maybe you could get through it, but I certainly couldn't, I know that for sure. But then I was also talking to some friends, and then I later found out that even their pressed powder products have a shelf life of 6 months after opening, and I was really bummed about that, because I have the Punk Princess palette, and I mean it's a good palette. It's not something that is my favorite, but I wish I put forth more effort into using it up, because it's gonna expire here really soon. So my entire face I used the whole palette today, and I'm feeling like I just really need to use it now before it is expired. So I think it's kind of hard to say, because their website doesn't specifically tell you, but based off what I've heard, certain pictures I've seen in my own products, I know that some exceptions to that 6 months is the foundation, the liquid one that comes in the pump. You know, because it's in a pump, it's gonna be more airtight and naturally it's gonna last longer. And then of course also the pencils, just because again, the nature of the product, it's a pencil, it's gonna last longer. I can't speak for every single product, but I can tell you that almost all of them expire after 6 months of opening. And I was trying to think of what the reason behind that would be, and only one thing makes sense to me. So 100% pure for their pigments, they use, even for their eyeshadows, they use fruit pigments, not mineral pigments. And fruit pigments are just going to spoil quicker than a mineral would. So for example, Axiology, they have a very simple formulation, very pure ingredients. They use the same preservative, vitamin E oil, as 100% pure, but the only difference is they use mineral pigments, not fruit pigments. And theirs has a shelf life of 12 months after opening. Same thing with Breesia, they have a really simple formulation, and the shelf life, I was told, for those are about a year and a half, give or take. And even more impressive, Mineral Fusion, again, theirs is 24 months after opening, and still really great ingredients, maybe not as clean, as perfected as 100% Pure and Axiology and stuff. So with that being said, I just wish 100% Pure was more mindful about their packaging. For example, this lipstick there's a lot of product in here. There is 4.5 grams, which is definitely more than your average lipstick. I just don't understand why you would make the product that large when it only lasts 6 months. But because of all this, I don't think I'll be repurchasing any of their cosmetics anyway. I mean, certain things might make sense, like mascara, since you only really want to use it 3 months anyway. Maybe I'll try their foundation in the future, I don't know. But yeah, that's that, and it's a bummer, but that's how it is. So that's all the products I've got to talk about today. Let me know if you like this type of video. I can do more in the future. Let me know how I did. Do you think I did it in a helpful way? If there's anything I can do to be more helpful, please let me know. And of course, please let me know in the comments below how you felt about these products. Even if you completely disagree with me, I just want to hear all your thoughts and opinions so that we can just kind of make this a reference and source of information for people to learn more about how these products work. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time.